Jacqueline Coleman. And I'm just kidding. Clearly, she was a sympathetic.
She said, no, my turn. Thank you all. For those of you who are parents, I hope you understand. But thank you all so much. Thank you, Lexington. Thank you for showing up today for public education all across Kentucky. This is the most important fight that we can possibly fight, and I am so glad to be in it with teachers, with school employees, with bus drivers, with parents, and people all across Kentucky who know how important this election is. Now, we are here to set the record straight and to send a message. Now, I thought we sent that message in 2019, but it turns out we're going to have to be even louder in 2023 and make sure they know when you attack public education, you will not win in the state of Kentucky. Now, our opponents have laid out their blueprint for how they see public education in Kentucky. Their number one priority is to take money from our public schools that are already under-resourced and give it to unaccountable private schools. That is not only a bad decision for education, that's a bad decision for taxpayers across Kentucky who get no accountability for the tax dollars that they pay every single year. I need to remind you that I know it's 2023, but this is basically them dusting off Matt Bevin's old playbook. Because Daniel Cameron has said time and time again he would have defended Matt Bevin's sewer bill if he had been our Attorney General at the time. Well, let me tell you something. Thank goodness we had a different Attorney General then. And if that wasn't enough, he doubled down when he chose his running mate. Now listen, the first big decision that a gubernatorial candidate makes is picking their running mate. And that's obviously why we knew Andy was going to be such a good decision maker. But seriously, when you pick someone who is an architect of the sewer bill, someone who is anti-public education, anti-worker, you're sending a message about exactly how you're going to operate in your campaign, but also in an administration. And we cannot afford 4 more years of Matt Bevin's policies under Daniel Cameron and Robbie Mills. We can't afford it. So I heard my opponent in the primary talk a whole lot about how he wanted to take funding from our public schools, put it in private schools. I heard him perpetuating the crazy conspiracy theories about what was going on in the classroom and what our teachers were doing in our classrooms. And the minute he gets out of that primary, he goes on an apology tour to all the school groups. So let me tell you something, it's going to take a whole lot more than an apology tour to undo the damage that has been done by these folks in the last several years. The way we support public education in Kentucky, and guys, this is not difficult. I'm not going to explain rocket science to you right now. It is simple, and you know it because you do it every single day. Number one, you put kids first, period. And you sure don't pick on a group of kids for political points. Number two, you have the backs. You have the backs of the people who show up for our kids every single day. And number three, you make sure our schools have the resources they need to do what they've been asked to do. That's not rocket science. That's how this works. And let me tell you why that's so important right now. We are at a crossroads in Kentucky of greater opportunity than we've ever seen before. $26 billion in private investments in Kentucky to create over 50,000 jobs all across this Commonwealth. We've got the largest rainy day fund in Kentucky's history, the largest budget surplus in Kentucky's history. You know what that means? We got more than enough money to give our hardworking teachers the long overdue raise they deserve. To see this progress through, to bring these businesses here that are picking us, to move it forward, to grow it, to expand it, all of those things. It's going to take a team that knows that the future of Kentucky's economy is in our classrooms today. That is exactly what is going to move us forward. And I got to tell you something, I'm really proud that Kentucky is number 2 in the nation in economic development all across this country. But let me tell you something, we can't stay number 2 in economic development if we're number 44 in teacher pay. And as a girl from Bergen, I'm very proud that we are number 3 in the nation in rural job creation, right? But we are kidding ourselves if we think we can stay there when we constantly underfund the largest employer in every rural county, and that is our public school system. This is why our Education First plan is the way to improve public education in the state of Kentucky. Our number 1 goal is to raise the pay of every single school employee in every building by 11%. Across the board raise for every single job. Because I don't care if you're a cook, a custodian, a counselor, or a chemistry teacher. You are part of the village that our families need every single day. And you know, the Cameron campaign heard about our 11% proposal, and they said it was laughable. I don't think that's very funny. What about you? No. I think that is exactly what you deserve, because you know what? Social workers got a 14% raise. Law enforcement got a raise. State employees got a raise. You were the only ones left out of that equation. Right. And the bill has come due. And we are going to get it done through our Education First plan. When I hear my opponents say, oh, they'll never get that through the legislature, well, then it sounds to me like we need to send some more folks up with Cheryl and Stevenson. To get that done, and I got to tell you real quickly, Adriel O'Connell, she is all about it. No. Not a teacher. Not a teacher.
Chris is a teacher.
Okay, Chris is a teacher. Support personnel. Support personnel, there you go. And she works in our public schools, and she knows how important it is. So I'm not the only person who works in a school on the ballot. And it's important that we make sure that we lift people up, all up and down this ballot. And while we're at it, let's deliver universal pre-K for every 4-year-old. Fully fund classroom resources all across Kentucky, so you're not pulling out of your own pocket to pay for teachers. Or I got a good one for you. Why don't we keep our promise that we haven't kept since 2005 and fully fund transportation? Can't find enough bus drivers? Let's pay them a living wage. That'd be a great start to be able to do that. Let's provide some student loan relief for our teachers who are already disrespectfully underpaid, who are pulling out of their pockets to pay for resources for their classrooms, who are still paying off their student loans. How in the world are they supposed to save for their own children's education? These are all ways that you invest to make sure that we move Kentucky forward. And let me tell you guys, Kentucky deserves better. They just deserve better than that. And we are 40 days out from this election. With the 44th, we ranked 44th in starting teacher pay, 40th in average teacher pay. Eddie, did you say 47th in support personnel pay? 48th in support personnel pay across, when you put us up against other states. Kentucky deserves better. Yes. We've got 40 days to send that message loud and clear that when you attack public education, you don't win in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. When you run on hatred and division and divisiveness, you will not win in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. There is too much at stake in this election, and let me tell you what it boils down to. And I see these kids here today, and it especially reminds me of them. We are in this race together to build the kind of Kentucky that lifts people up and not one that leaves people out. It is that simple. There's a lot on the line this November, and you know that because you walk in those shoes every single day. And we've got a message to send in November, 40 days from now. So let's go out, let's knock on doors, let's talk to our friends and neighbors, let's get people to the polls, let's win this race, but more importantly, let's build the kind of Commonwealth our kids and our grandkids deserve. Thank you so much.